Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing a brand new original tag entitled the Fictional Self-Help Book Tag. This brand new tag was created by Alan at Alan's Reads, and I was tagged by Alan. So thank you, Alan, for thinking of me. I encourage everyone to check out Alan's wonderful channel. I'm going to just read to you what Alan said in his intro to the tag. He says, the self-help or self-improvement market was estimated to be worth $45.7 billion in 2024. This includes self-help books of a variety of types. But what if there were no self-help books and only fiction? Who would you choose to help you on your self-improvement journey? Pick a fictional character as an answer to each of the prompts below to help you. Or, as an alternative, pick a fictional character who is the last person you'd ask for help with that prompt. Just delightful. So here we go. Number 1, learning a foreign language. Who would you choose to help you learn a new language or brush up on one you can already speak but not very well? For that, I chose a character in a novel that I just finished. We just finished Betty Boo by Claudia Pinheiro. For the Pinheiro Project. And the main character in here is a woman, Noorit Iskar. She's also the character known as Betty Boo. And she is a writer. She's a novelist, and she also works as a journalist in this novel. And I would love to have her help me to brush up on my Spanish. I studied Spanish in high school and in college. I have a minor in Spanish literature, but I'm so out of practice, and I haven't used my Spanish in a long time, and I would love to have Noorit Iskar to help me brush up on my Spanish. Number 2, life is uncertain at the moment. Who would you choose to help you prepare for future eventualities? Who will teach you the survival skills you'll need? For that, I've chosen Parable of the Sower, that's the novel, by Octavia Butler. I'm going to just read to you from the back of the book. When global climate change and economic crises lead to social chaos in the early 2020s, California becomes full of dangers, from pervasive water shortage to masses of vagabonds who will do anything to live to see another day. 15-year-old Lauren Olamina lives inside a gated community with her preacher, father, family, and neighbors, sheltered from the surrounding anarchy. In a society where any vulnerability is a risk, she suffers from hyper-empathy, a debilitating sensitivity to others' emotions. Precocious and clear-eyed, Lauren must make her voice heard in order to protect her loved ones from the imminent disasters her small community stubbornly ignores. But what begins as a fight for survival soon leads to something much more: the birth of a new faith and a startling vision of human destiny. This was written in 1993. So my character of choice to help me and to teach me some survival skills is Lauren Olamina from the Parable of the Sower. Number 3, everyone should be able to cook at least one outstanding meal. Who would you choose to help you plan and prepare that meal? For that, I've chosen Nora Ephron's Heartburn, and the character is Rachel Samstat. She's the main character in the novel, and she also writes cookbooks. I think she could help. Okay. Number 4. Life is tough and unpredictable, and you should be able to defend yourself. Who would you choose to teach you some basic self-defense? For that, I'm choosing the character Brendan Doyle in Tim Powers' novel, The Anubis Gates, which I've just finished reading. This is a buddy read that I'm reading with Gavin at Genre Books. Our main character, Brendan Doyle, is an English professor. He's living in 1983, and he goes on this journey back in time to the 19th century. And he goes to a whole bunch of other centuries and time periods as well. What this man goes through in the course of this novel, where he is just beset by every obstacle you could imagine and villains that you can't even imagine. And he survives, and he prevails, and he fights back all of these villains and obstacles, and I think I could learn a lot from Brendan Doyle, a lot of basic self-defense. Okay, number 5, life can be chaotic at times. Who would you like to teach you mindfulness or relaxation? Well, just last week I read and discussed with the Clifford D. Simak reading group, the Pig and Whistle Simak reading group. We just read Cosmic Engineers, and there are several main characters in this book, but one of them is a character named Caroline Martin. When she is first discovered in the novel, she has been in a state of suspended animation for the past 1,000 years. While her body could not move, and she was in this, in this tank where she was basically suspended for these 1,000 years, her mind was still alert and still active, and she basically had to develop mental survival skills in order to last for these 1,000 years until somebody came and woke her up and took her out of suspended animation. But I think she must have developed some very keen mindfulness techniques in order to have survived these 1,000 years. Okay. Number 6, I love this question, free choice. What else would you like to learn to do, and which fictional character is going to teach you how? I've received a number of questions in my comments over many of my videos this winter, and the questions are about knitting and crocheting. Sometimes they're in reference to the Afghan that you can see in the background, which is draped over a chair. And sometimes they've been in reference to my sweaters. I wear a lot of sweaters in the fall and the winter, and I've had a lot of questions about the knitting of my sweaters. Did I do it myself? What is the pattern? And, I always have to say that no, I didn't do the crocheting, and no, I didn't do the knitting myself. I had a mother who was an incredible knitter, and I had 2 beloved aunts, my mother's sisters, who also, they all knew how to knit and crochet and do needlepoint, and I learned almost nothing from them. I have the most primitive of knitting skills, and they're all gone now. The last of them just passed, within the last 2 years, and some have been gone a longer time. So it's too late for me to learn what I should have learned when I had the chance, and it's just a real sadness in my life. So I've picked some fictional characters. I always pay attention to knitting in novels. One that came to mind right away, because they're all knitting all through this book, is Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. And this was my mother's favorite novel, at least as a young person, and this is a copy that she bought me when I was 8 years old, and it's the first edition that I read of Little Women. And I most remember Jo and Beth knitting in this, but I think they all knit. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong about that. Currently, my favorite Dickens novel is David Copperfield, and Peggotty. Mrs. Peggotty is always knitting in this novel as well. So that was another one that came to mind. And then a classic Dickens character who knits, and it's like the main characteristic of her character, is Madame Defarge in Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. And of course, her knitting, she's doing knitting for kind of, sort of dark purposes. She's knitting. Every time we see her in the novel, she's knitting something. And then we find out at the end of, or near the end of the novel, what it is that she's been knitting all through the novel. And it's, she's been doing some pretty, dark business with her knitting. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to spoil what it is that she's doing if anybody's about to read A Tale of Two Cities. So, okay. And then number 7, let's all learn together, tag some fellow booktubers to take part. If you're watching this and you would like to do this tag, this is really fun. This is a delightful, new, original tag. And I would encourage you to consider yourself tagged by me. And in addition, as I always do, I'm going to tag a whole bunch of people to see if we can get some traction on Alan's new tag and see if we can spread this around BookTube. So it's a really wonderful one, and I'm going to list a bunch of people in the notes below. So as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.